All right, so we're up at cabin. We are just getting up here. Got all my stuff out of the shed and heading up to our spring. That is going to be the first order of business. And as you can see, the driveway is a bit treacherous, but we'll get to that at another day. This camp is about 10 years old. We've built it from the ground up, from just a piece of ground up here in upstate New York, and it's been a good project. It's actually the second cabin that I've built, and yeah, it's good stuff. So we are getting up to where the spring is right now. This spring has served us very well, I gotta say, but it is in need of some life. So let me get out, show you what we got, and we'll go from there. All right, so I want to talk about springs. It's a topic that comes up a lot. I've helped out a couple people with this, and it's something that is not very well understood. And I'll explain some quick, I know I get a little long-winded, but I'll explain some quick details on what's good, what's bad, how to make it work for you. There's really three types of springs, right? There is a truly natural, high-quality spring like this, okay? Which is what you want. And this one, I'll explain in a second, comes from the ground. And the reason why you know that is because it flows all year long. In the middle of August, you could have a heat wave, no issues. It'll keep flowing. It could not rain for a month, and it doesn't slow down one bit. So that's typically how you know when you have a real spring. The one you want to watch out for, please, I see this stuff all the time, is what's called a fissure spring. So, and I apologize, the upstate New York flies are out right now and they're driving me nuts. But anyway, a fissure spring is basically a hole in the ground way high up, and then another hole further down, and it's like almost like a pipe in the ground. So it's just taking groundwater from somewhere else and shooting it out here. You do not want to use them for obvious reasons. There's a ton of contamination possible. There's a ton of it's just nasty. It's groundwater. You don't want to have that. This water is being filtered by, metric tons of soil and sand and sediment and everything else in the earth, and it's coming out of here, with 15% or 15 TDS, which is really low. I mean, that's total dissolved solids. There's basically nothing in this water when it comes out of here. A fissure spring is going to come out, with whatever the heck is on top of the ground, which you don't want. So keep that in mind. The other type of spring would be a ground spring, and we have one of those over that way, and we're probably going to develop that too this year. So we'll get to that on another video. But what we're going to do today is basically cut this and make what's called a dam containment. So you actually build a dam around where your actual water is coming out, and then you basically run one pipe out and then an overflow pipe, and you call it a day. And they typically work much better than the system we have, because what's happening is, hold on one sec. So if I don't fall down this hill. So here's the problem you're seeing, right? This is our spring that I tapped years and years ago, put hydraulic cement around it. It's been working great. That's my problem. I'm getting seepage all around it, mostly from this side. In fact, if I move some of this, you can literally just see it percolating right out from there. See that? That's our problem. It's a good thing and a bad thing. I mean, this spring runs really nicely. I get a lot of flow out of this spring, but the problem is it's getting bypassed right now out of where I originally tapped it. Probably my fault. Probably shouldn't have tapped it like this. This works sometimes, but sometimes the earth will kind of reroute itself, and I think that's what occurred here. So, yeah, so I'm going to cut this, and then start building a containment. So I'm going to start building, dig this all out right here, and then build a U-shaped containment dam, basically, and then line the inside with hydraulic cement. Big job, but not too bad. Should get it done in a couple hours. All right. So we'll do a little time lapse of that, and we'll get back to you in a minute. main pipe, the overflow, and then a bunch of hydraulic cement to secure up, you know, kind of the areas that I sealed around, and kind of get it more squared away than it is, basically. And then, so yeah, and then I'm going to also be fixing that sagging delivery pipe over there, putting it on I have a new aircraft cable that I strung up from 2 trees, so it's nice and tight, with just a slight slope. I forgot the exact slope I gave it, but it's perfect. So I'm going to do that while this is setting up, after I'm done with the hydraulic cement. And yeah, we should be good to go. I'm getting tons of flow right now. The water's super clean after flowing overnight for a while, and I'm happy with this. It's gonna come out pretty well. I'm gonna give it a nice seal all around the edges, and then my pipes, and yeah, and then we should be good to go. And then I gotta redo this pipe, fit it on here, and we should be back up in business. All right, so I'm tired, but we're getting real close. This is pretty much done at this point. I'm gonna get something else for me to put a knee on here. So yeah, we're real close now. I did all the hydraulic cement all around the sides too. So a couple things you want to keep in mind when you're doing these. One, you don't want to restrict the flow inside, so you want to be real careful where you put hydraulic cement inside the dam, right? That's obvious. The second thing though that a lot of people don't think about is you want to seal the sides, because you know groundwater is going to come down. There will be a lid, by the way, that's coming later, but groundwater is going to come down everywhere and try to get in. It's water. Water gets in wherever it can. So you want to build kind of gutters with the hydraulic cement around the dam and away. So just try to do that if you can. And then just seal up around your penetrations really well. So around your main flow, your overflow, seal it up as well as you can. You know, you don't want to get this stuff on your hands too much. That's why I was using gloves. You can get, a lot of people have pretty bad reactions to hydraulic cement and cement in general. So I would probably wear gloves, but you know, at the end of it, when you want to smooth it out, it's just tough. Those gloves had rips in them anyway, so I just went over with a wet hand and kind of smoothed everything out, made sure, and it's not so much about looking good, it's more about flowing water well. I want the water to get away from this thing as fast as possible, so just something to think about when you're doing this. Main flow pipe has a slight pitch for obvious reasons. It is just about a ½ inch above the floor inside the dam, and that's for a purpose. Later on, I will likely be coating the entire inside of this spring with hydraulic cement just for sanitary reasons. It just makes cleaning it out much easier. Plus, if a newt or whatever, a lizard gets in there, I don't know if they're called lizards in the Northeast, but whatever, you know what I mean. If he gets in there, it's just easier to see him, easier to get him out. He'll flow out easier, and it is what it is. Plus, if anything does get in there, it tends to flow out better. So you make kind of like you kind of contour with hydraulic cement inside to make debris that does get in come out. And you float it right to the bottom of this pipe so that it's all just kind of like one big gutter in there. So I'll do that at a later point. There's no real reason to make a video about that. You guys know what I mean, so just do it. Pretty solid. I'm going to let it set up at this point. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. These are all going to get snipped. The ones that I couldn't pound down any further, I probably hit some sort of rock down there. Couldn't get them down anymore. So I'm going to snip this rebar as low as I can. And then I have foam, close seal foam tape that's going to go underneath the lid to really seal up against the back wall and this. You know, for now, it'll be good enough. So right now I'm going to reposition, and then we're going to do. My delivery pipe is a disaster. It was a loose rope that I've had for years. It's got a big belly in it. It would freeze in the winter. It was a nightmare. So I got a really nice aircraft cable over there that I strung up nice and tight, and it should be perfect. It's going to be a little wonky. I got to get up on a ladder in the middle of a creek, so hopefully you don't watch me bust my you-know-what, but such is life. So you see the flow we're getting now too? It's a million times better than it was. You know, this is how it should be. I mean, this thing is flowing, I don't know the gallons per minute, but it's pretty good. I'm not upset about it at all. And this water is just beautiful water. This work was worth every bit of it. I mean, we've been drinking this water for years. I got it tested a couple years back, and all it had was high iron, which isn't the end of the world. You can filter that out, and but otherwise, this is like almost pure water. You know, this spring is just a beautiful thing, and if you have one on your property, I suggest you take advantage of it. It tends to be much better water for drinking than what you're going to find out there. You know, a lot of the bottled water you're going to find is reverse osmosis purified, and then they barely put the minerals back in. You actually need minerals in your body and your water. So, and spring water tends to be, again, not all of it, so get your water tested, please, as a disclaimer. Don't just go drinking spring water, because again, like I talked about earlier, it could be a fissure spring. But it does tend, if you have a good spring and you've hopefully tested it, it tends to be just amazing water. You know, it's deep enough, but not too deep where you get a lot of the nasty stuff real far down in the earth. Like a well water tends to have a lot of stuff you don't want in it. It's very hard. It's got a lot of calcium and this and that. And spring water is kind of what you want. It's earth filtered water. It's kind of an awesome thing. So anyway, I've rambled enough. So I'm going to leave this alone, let it set up. Oh, that's another thing. If you're doing this, hydraulic cement. You probably saw me struggling a little bit, and I've done this a million times, so I should know better, but it sets up very quickly. Hydraulic cement, in a couple minutes it's hard, you know, so make small amounts. That's why I was using this small bucket. I got a huge bucket of it down there, but if you made all that right now, it would be hard by the time you used a quarter of it, so don't do that. And use it quickly. When you bring it up to your site, bang it in there and then smooth it out later. Get it in, because it will get hard and then you got to fight it, and it's just a nightmare. Another thing I forgot to mention yesterday, right under the camera, I don't know if you guys can see it, there's a bunch of clay. So when I first cleaned this out, I took the natural clay. It's really good stuff. Up here in New York, we have just really high quality clay. It's almost like a mixture of like red and gray clay. This stuff is awesome. Back in the day, and I've done a couple springs like this too, where you just use clay. You don't have to use hydraulic cement. I like hydraulic cement. It just tends to be a little more permanent and whatever. I like it. But clay does a beautiful job too. I mean, this stuff that we have up here is almost like hydraulic cement. There's a piece of it in the creek down there that was there for 2 days now, and it's still a big chunk sitting in running water. So it kind of gives you an idea of what clay can do. So yeah, that's another thing to keep in mind. Almost all real springs, natural springs, have clay at the base of them. Typically the clay, I mean, this is from thousands of years of you know, earth forming and you know what, but it's what actually helps these dam up and form. You know, it helps the springs come out of the ground because the clay is so packed in right here. It basically forces the water up and out. So something to keep in mind. If you're on a low budget or if you just want to keep things all natural, clay is pretty amazing. And if you play your cards right and really do a good job with your excavation and maybe use concrete for your blocks, but then you can use clay to pack in all around it if you have enough. I have plenty. I just decided, you know what, I just like using hydraulic cement. So something to think about. All right, so I'm gonna call this job done. You can see the new delivery pipe right there, looking pretty good. I got aircraft cable going from that tree to that tree. It's all protected. The tree's protected. It shouldn't have an issue with that. Yeah, so that's all looking good. Let me get across the creek here. So as you can see, the flow is amazing. This is actually better than I've ever had it, which is not too surprising, but yeah, I'm really happy with it. I just did a quick test with that bucket, which is a gallon bucket. It filled in a little over a minute, so call it 1 GPM, which is, I mean, that's a gusher of a spring, really. Most springs flow about a quarter of that. Some flow much more than that. I mean, I've seen springs up here that are just insane. But the average spring is, you know, this or a little less. But so I cleaned up this too. I cleaned up some of these rocks, made a little platform to fill tanks with, and you know, I got two guys that own properties down the way there, good friends of mine, and they come up and fill their tanks and, you know, whatever in the winter. So this is the winter. I forgot what we used to call it. The winter, you know, chute, let's call it. I think that's what we used to call it. So it's basically just a piece of drainage pipe cut in half, and then I put that pipe in the winter and then just let it all flow down. And it could be the middle of February, nothing ever freezes. It just, there will be a pile of ice all around it, and then you'll just see the water coming right through. It's pretty cool, actually. So let's get up there. I'll show you what we did. This, oh boy, ay, Jesus, this hill is something. It doesn't do it justice how much work this was, you know, dragging up that 5-gallon bucket of concrete. Yeah, it sucks. But all good things, I don't know, kind of suck sometimes, I guess. I don't know what that saying is, but anyway, it's worth the effort. So there's the spring now. It looks great. It's still kind of curing around where the hydraulic cement is. That's the overflow. That's my main. Just put that up there, like I said earlier. That lid is going to be replaced by a concrete cast lid soon. I don't know, when I get to it. I'm actually going to use that as my form for it. So I'll probably do that with the kids. They like doing stuff like that. So yeah, whatever. So in a minute here, I'll put it up on the tripod, and I'm gonna actually get the spring running again, which is pretty exciting. This thing is, you know, I always used to get a ton of flow by on the left side, and it kind of stunk, you know. And even from day one, this spring was quickly done. Let's do it. Let's call it that. Now, it's something that will be here, you know, when my kids are older, and you know, hopefully I am, but you know, whatever. I mean, this thing should last a long time and give us really good water for a long time, which is really the goal here. Delivery pipe, I still got to play with my my angles and my, you know, I can't even think or talk right now. I'm pretty tired, but anyway, you guys know what I'm saying. There's got to be a drop from here to there, and I just got to make sure it's gradual and enough. So I got to play with that. I'm gonna put a just a rock on top to weight the lid down. I have double-sided, actually, you know what, let me pull it open for you so you guys can see what the inside looks like. I don't think I've showed that yet on these videos. So that's the inside of the spring. Oh man, so that's the old one. See how little that's flowing? That's all I was getting. That's where a lot of my water is now coming from. I mean, it doesn't maybe look like it in the video, but there's a ton of water flowing right there. Main pipe there, overflow there. Not too much sediment in there. It's looking pretty good. Like I said, I'm probably going to end up, you know, putting hydraulic cement all on the bottom just to make it a nice clean bottom. But well, I'll get to that when I get to it. You know, right now this is great. It's solid, good to go. So here's the double layer of closed cell foam. Does a great job. I've used this on another spring. It's phenomenal. Cut down all the rebar, good to go. Concrete's pretty cured. I'm happy, not too bad. So just got to snug that up in the back there, kind of get a better seal, and then I'm gonna grab some rocks to throw up there. So hang tight real quick. All right. Again, this is temporary. Eventually I'm going to put a nice cast lid. But let's get to it. Let's get this thing running again. I got to pump up to the cabin soon, so might as well. I don't know if I'd call this a pro tip. Kind of just an easy, obvious tip, but I leave this junk screwdriver up here, no bits. For all the hose clamps, so I'm never, you know, in the winter, spring, whatever, if I have to do work on it, this is really the only tool I need, which is kind of nice. So yeah, I would leave one of these up here, and then I also leave this guy, which I'm just going to use that for now, but I leave my closing caps up here too, facing down so they don't get bugs and water in them, and you know, that's that. So let's undo this guy. Pull that down. I don't want to get too much water. Oh, I undid the wrong side like a dope. Ugh. Tired. Doing stupid stuff now. Alright. I don't want to get much water coming down here because it's just starting to dry up now, which I'm pretty excited about. It's been pretty nasty in here for a while. That hill is looking great. I haven't seen it like that in a long time. So that's that. That's your delivery pipe. I mean, it's that simple, you know. And then in the winter, around November, I'll pop this pipe back on and just let everything go right down the winter chute. You know, it tends to work pretty well. I'll leave that like that to keep water out of it, and I'll just leave that pipe right there. I'll leave this guy right there. You know, I kind of keep things simple. Yeah, and it's flowing great now. Like I said, I'm getting about one gallon per minute. I can't complain with that. I mean, that IBC tote down there is a 320 gallon, and this will fill in couple hours, not even, probably an hour and a half, 2 hours. I mean, well, what is that? So 3 hours, yeah, if I'm doing my math. I don't know. It fills quickly, you know, for 300 something gallons. You know, you can pump that thing dry, go do something, and before you know it, it's back up again. So another project we're going to do is likely bury an underground 500-gallon storage tank on the other side of the creek. Because, and just so you guys all know, we don't live on this side of the creek. We own this property, but the house is up on the hill over there. That's why we have to go through all this hassle of, you know, hanging a delivery pipe and a big holding tank and all this stuff. You know, it's a little bit convoluted, I guess you would call it, but it works. It works really well, actually. It's always worked, and we love it. You know, it's done well for us. So this should just further that. So that's all I got. This job's done. I'm happy with it. I'm going to put a little cover on the overflow and kind of call it a day. If you guys have any questions, concerns, comments, don't post them, please, but comments, you know, questions you may have, I'll try to get to them. Like I said, if you're in the Northeast, I do a fair amount of these for other people, as well as some solar stuff and a lot of cabin stuff in general. So I'll try to help you out any way I can. That's all I got. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you could throw me, I don't know, what do they say, throw a like, throw a subscribe, hey, I'd appreciate it, you know. I'm trying to build a channel to help out kind of like-minded people, so I think that would be kind of cool. Thanks very much. Take care.